What it do, surprise Shawty crew, and hey my Daizee love. I want to share a dream I had recently and just some encouragement for us all. First things first, y'all know I share everything publicly. Like, I just share everything publicly. So there's going to be instances and occasions where my family members or people who know good and well, okay, they mistreated me. They may see the post, okay? It's not that I do it intentionally. It's just that I'm that transparent. So if you inspire the content on the wrong side, you inspire the content on the wrong side. So I'm saying that because I feel like I dreamt this because God was showing me what was going on in the spirit after I made certain posts. That's what Megan believes. Okay, so by the title, you are a walking conviction. This should not be new to any of us, but this is just the reminder the Holy Spirit was giving me as of lately. So in this dream, a particular family member of mine, she was upset and she was yelling at me and she was like, "You're convicting me. You're convicting me." And I was looking at her like she was crazy in a dream, like, sis, what? And so it didn't faze me that she was saying that. I just felt like the Lord wanted me to know the heart posture of some people. Okay, and so other phrases you may hear, which I feel like ultimately are saying that, because in the dream she was straight up saying that, but in your life people might not actually say that, like, "You're convicting me." Something that came up the other week and I kind of took mental note of was, "You're making me look bad." And this is, y'all, I'm saying, like, when you're just doing what you're supposed to be doing, like, you are not intentionally trying to, point fingers, do nothing to people, but you are speaking up, you are telling your story, you are doing your job, you are operating in your calling, right? And that will offend some people. So I just reshared a video that relates greatly to this. Like, they will be offended by your calling. Okay, that's scriptural. So other things you might hear is, "You're making me look bad," or "Stop judging me." And people will say that because in that moment, if you're speaking, if you're telling the truth, they are going to feel conviction. And after I had a dream, I was like, no, in the dream, I had told her, I was like, "I'm not convicting you. That's the Holy Spirit. Megan don't got the power to convict nobody. You can only be convicted by God's Holy Spirit." So when they feel like that, when they say that, it's God's Holy Spirit convicting them. It's not you, but it's His Spirit moving in you, whether it be in your actual words, your actual testimony, or the way you show up at work, the way you show up on the internet, because you're supposed to be the way you show up. Picking the worst angles to record these videos, I'm so sorry. Or the way you show up to operate in your gifts and callings, no matter what it is. Okay, that is what they're feeling, God's Holy Spirit, and that's what convicts. So I also wrote down, a lot of times you'll feel this because you are bringing in some change, like change. People fear this change. You're being an example of living and moving different. And when you think about generational curses, I've shared this with y'all before. I will never forget this girl, this woman of God. She said that on here. She was like, "We overcomplicate things. We make them so difficult." Like, breaking a generational curse is just doing differently. You're not going to follow on that same pattern. You're going to do differently. And so you're an example of that. Whether you're aware, because I feel like I was convicting people and I wasn't even aware, or like, no, I live a different life. And now I understand why y'all always felt the way, because my existence, the way I move, my decisions convicted you, right? So you're an example of living and moving differently. An example of that is generational curses. When it comes to correction, people resist this. So people fear change and they resist correction. And it's not even so much that you're doing it on purpose. The perfect example I have, because I thought about this when I was writing these notes. I remember I used to talk to one family member all the time. We don't talk as much, but I remember we were talking about something, and then it was like weeks later, maybe months later, and she was like, "Hey, I stopped doing such and such." And I was like, "Oh, for real?" And she was like, "Yeah, I felt convicted." Exactly. You felt convicted, not because I told you needed to stop doing something, not because I pointed that out, just in conversing with me, because she told me, she was like, "No, it was after I was on the phone with you, and I just felt convicted about it, and I stopped." And I was like, that's crazy, because I wasn't on the phone with you, like, that's not what I was doing. So one thing I thought about, and when I was thinking about that example, she could probably feel it in my voice, or hear it in my voice, right? And that's something we learn in coaching. Like, you should have conviction in your voice as a coach. Now, me, I know that comes from my gift of prophecy and stuff, and my ability to speak things a certain way and declare and decree and all those. Like, I speak very matter of factly. I know that about myself, right? Like, because I speak the truth, so it comes off very matter of factly half of the time. So that's just an example, because I didn't go into that trying to convict. I don't ever go into nothing trying to convict nobody. Right? The only time I'm intentional about telling somebody something is when I'm standing up for myself or standing up for others. Besides that, that's a personal thing. You feel convicted. You feel convicted because of how I move, the example I set, or the change. Like, even when you step into a place and you shift the atmosphere because God is in you, and now people feel convicted. That's what's going to happen. Light is going to expose darkness. That's what happens, okay? So I just wanted to share that with y'all. You're a walking conviction. I promise y'all, I don't even be trying to do that. Like, you're walking conviction because you're filled with him, and people will be upset about it. Like, she was yelling at me in my dream. I'm like, sis, you don't get out of my face. Like, I'm not convicting you. That's the Holy Spirit, poo. That's what happens, right? But know that people will be angry. They'll say you trying to make them look bad. You ain't trying to do nothing. Like, you just feel convicted. Pipe down. Okay, so humbly. I love y'all. See you in the next video.